Greetings Earthlings! So we're going to take a look at the Silverstone RL05 case, and this is just going to be a standalone case review. There's going to be no components going in or anything like that, not yet. Just in this video, just talking about the case and that's it. Stick around if you want to find out more because this case is pretty good. It's for enthusiasts and it's very modern. So let's get straight into it. Let's start with the specification straight away. So AKA Redline series is the RL05 by Silverstone, and this is their new modern day case, and it's for enthusiasts and it's taking a next level of affordability with loads of functionality, if you get what I'm saying. So the full name of this case is SST RL05 BRW, and this is the windowed version, so that's what the W stands for. So the front of the case is a plastic front, but the whole body is a steel metal frame body, so it's meant to be quite solid. It is going to be a bit weighty, but it's still really cool. What I am really interested in is that this is the first sort of case that I've noticed that's got Type C, and it can house, as a medium-sized case, it can house 240mm fans at the top, 240mm fans at the front, 180mm fan at the bottom where the hard drives go in. If you're using mechanical hard drives like 3.5-inch hard drives, you can fit 2 of them in, and you can fit 4 SSDs in there as well to keep them cool if you really wanted to. But we've got Type C, and also we've got no USB 2s, which is great on the and without having a case. I don't really want it to be bottlenecking with like speed and stuff. And the fact that USB 3 is backwards compatible anyway, so you can have USB 3 which is up to 5 gigabits per second, and on the front we've also got microphone jack and a headphone jack there as well, and we've got room for an optical drive, CD drive, Blu-ray drive, whatever drive, and I'm sure you can get this out. Now what I like about this case as well is that you look like you can mod this shroud which hides all the unnecessary cable management. Talking about cable management, this is like, I think this is a really cool idea of this case. In this slot here is where the cable management hides and where the solid state drives will be. And I think it's really cool that you can put a normal ATX motherboard in here as well as a micro ATX motherboard. And it comes with all the screws, and it comes with this as well, which is for your standoffs, and it makes sure that you can screw these like straight down to the base of the case so the motherboard doesn't go anywhere. And for such a cheap case, I don't get how all these cheap cases are getting so many screws and cable ties. So you get 5 cable ties to make sure that your cables are really nice and tidy. You get all like the 4 screws or 5 screws, no, 4 screws for the power supply. You get all the screws for the motherboard, and you get all the standoff screws, and you get all the screws for the SSD and the hard drives, and mechanical hard drives, so that's all cool. And I like how all these cables are completely black insulated except for this one, but you probably won't use this one. Well, you probably will actually because it's HD audio, but every other cable is all nice and black cable sleeve. The fans are not on Molex, but they're 3-pin and they're 140mm, and they're, well, I don't even know what colour it is because we're not going to actually put a build in it, but it says that it is an LED, the LED fans in the front there. So you get 2 140mm LED fans in the front straight away, which is really cool. And you got a dust filter at the top here, you got a dust filter in the front. It's pretty easy to clean it and stuff like that. The bottom of the feet are not rubber, it's like a hard plastic, but that's still quite cool. There's a few restrictions on here, but we'll get to that in a moment. So on the back of the case you got 7 expansion slots. They're Then obviously you can put your standard power supply in there, so no really small power supply, but it probably would be better because then you can actually do more better, well, you can do just much better cable management for the case, so it's more, it breathes more and it's just a cleaner build and it looks nicer, and that's the whole point of it, being an enthusiast. Sports graphics cards up to 14.7 inches, so it will fit a 1080 no problem, or a 980 or a Titan. It will fit all them graphics cards in there no problem, and AMD. Don't forget the red team. So you want to know the motherboard sizes. Let's go by 12 by 10, 2 inches. Obviously micro ATX. Externally you can fit 5.25, which I said, which is obviously CD, memory, writer, Blu-ray, whatever drive in the front there. I'm sure that you might be able to take that off because I'm sure there's screws in there, but we're going to take a look at that in a sec. I've gone through the fans, and on the rear you can fit 120mm fan slot only, so it won't be 140. So that means you can put a radiator in here which can support 280 and a 240. The CPU cooler limit is 165mm, meaning that you better not buy a CPU cooler that's too big because it ain't going to fit in this case. But this is not a super big case, this is a medium sized tower. PSU limit is 220mm, and the dimensions of this case is 110mm in width times by 465mm in height times by 450mm in depth, and that is 44.9 litres of water all in this case. Not really, but it's 44.9 litres in the case, which means it's got plenty of room in there for nice air turbulence to go inside the case, keep all your components cool. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this side panel off, which is the left hand side panel, and this is quite a nice heavy steel panel. Forgot what to call it then. So look at the size of this. This is, if you got your water cooling or CPU cooler bracket you need to put in the back, you can literally work with it like this. Just take off the side panel. I like the fact that you can fit 4 SSDs in here, no problem. And then you've got cable management there. You've got a strap that covers all the cables. After you've made it all nice and tidy, you've got a nice large fans in there for better wind turbulence inside the case, or better airflow. And I like the fact that you've got a bracket, which is an expansion bracket just for one graphics card, so you can have some ribbons going into the motherboard and have the graphics card facing out with the window, which is a nice acrylic window. It's not tinted or anything, and it's pretty cool. I don't know why it's got little plastic caps on the top of this case, but this is what hold, well obviously I do know what it is. It's for the actual filter, but I don't know why they just didn't do it a little bit more simpler, but it's on there and it looks alright, I suppose. So if I turn the case around, we've got the SSDs which will go here, which are thumb screws as well, which is quite cool. They didn't skimp on the pricing with that, and that means you can get the solid states in there facing backwards, and then you can get the cables feeded through this little compartment here, which is really cool. And if you're not using SSDs down the back down there, you can use that and route cables through the bottom. And then obviously power supply has got a filter at the bottom, and it's got rubber standoffs. Well, not even rubber, they're like a sort of, what's it, a foam sort of material that's quite hard, and it raises the power supply up from the bottom of the case, which is quite cool, so it doesn't smother it. And it just looks pretty cool. It's a nice case for enthusiasts, and I like the fact that it's got USB Type-C on the front there, as well as 2 USB 3.1s, and the case just looks really nice. And it's got the Silverstone logo there, which is all plastic, that bit there, and the red bit's plastic. Really want to know what colour the LEDs are. And then it's got a power button there, reset button, and a couple of LEDs like right on the side there. So it looks pretty alien-fied, but a modern sort of alien-fied. It's got this honey grill inside there, which you normally get on normal cases, but it looks like it can absorb quite a few bits of dust, and it'll be cool. And literally that is the end of the review of the Silverstone RL05, and this is the Redline version. I hope you understood what that meant, because if you don't, I'm going to come and find you.